Okay, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and go live, talk about things that I'm thinking about right now. Okay, as you see, I'm in my crib and I'm standing in front of what? A bunch of books. Yeah, bunch of books is big, important to me. Books, important to me, yes. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a couple of these great books that I've started to say written. I hadn't read, never read or wrote a book, but maybe will right here. I was thinking about this one, Malcolm X Autobiography, as told to Alex Haley. Yeah, man, you can't get no better than this book. Look, this book is so important for black people, of course, and for Americans in general, all races. Doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, Muslim, Christian, non-denominational, whether you believe Black Lives Matter, which you should, and man, there's so much life experience up in this book. He was an open book telling his story to Alex. And most people are not that when they tell their story, when they write an autobiography or whatever, you know. It's just human nature to protect ourselves and to protect our image, you know. But he wasn't trying to do that when he did this book. As a matter of fact, just before the book was finished, he thought about how open he was, and told Alex, don't put it out, change it, you know, do this and do that. And Alex said, you sure you want me to do that? Yeah, I'll do what you want. And then he just on a whim, he just said, okay, go ahead, just do it, do it. And we are so blessed because of that he did that, that he went ahead and just let it come out how he said it, you know. A lot of times, you know, you say something and you wish you hadn't said it, okay? But a lot of times when you do that, you're actually telling how you actually really feel, right? At least at that moment, based on what you know, okay? Reason I sharing about this book in particular, you know, you see a lot of other books up there. Just the knowledge of life that is possible to learn from this book. And this is old knowledge, man. This book came out in 1965. I was 2 years old. I was born in 1963. Just some of the thought patterns that he talks about having are the same thought patterns that all men have. Dealings with the opposite sex, dealings with people that are you say the wrong thing to them, they'll kill you. You know, I remember when he first in this, he talks about how he moved from the Midwest. I think it was Detroit. One of his nicknames was Detroit Red because he was well known in Detroit before he came to New York, in Harlem. Cautionary conversation that he had with someone in Harlem maybe at a bar or something, and they say, okay, well, there's three people that you need to know never to cross. Okay, and then they named those three people, one, two, three, and okay, you know that's great information. You know to that you know if there's well, you know what they would say about a big scary monster living next door. You know, if there's a big scary monster living right next door, you know you're not gonna go over there and bother him, right? Right? So those kinds of conversations are very handy, and it's good for everybody, right? People don't want the place getting shot up because you don't know what's going on, right? Yeah, great book. I took a long time to come to my senses and read this. I bought this at the place called 966. That's a club where I play every now and then with people like Houston Person, somebody that I play with regularly. And I don't know who I played with this particular year. And I bought right outside of where you play, where the bands play and people are in there eating and everything. They have a guy who sells books. And I bought this book from him, and then and every time I go there, he'd still be there selling books. Sometimes I just stand around, and usually I don't buy nothing. This might be the only time I bought a book from him. All right, and then years later, oh yeah, piano player, yeah, yeah. How'd you like that Malcolm X book? I haven't read it yet. What? Come on, man. He was like, come on, man. And still. After that, I was still years before I read it. I think I read this book. I think I must have bought this book. I don't think I wrote anything in here when I bought it. It's a good idea when you buy a book. First thing you do when you get it home is open it and write your name in it and the date or the year that you bought it. It's a good reference point, even where you bought it. Because you can't remember everything. I know where I bought it, but I don't know when I bought it. But I do know when I read it before COVID. Right now, this is May of 2020. I'm getting ready to have a birthday in about a week or so. May 29th is my birthday. And I read this a couple of years before COVID. I would say 2017 or 18. Actually, I have it written down because I make a list and the dates of when I started reading a book and when I finish. And either it was a week or a weekend that it took me to read this book, okay? And I was like, man, I could have done this, 5-10 years ago. As a matter of fact, I should have read this book at least when I was in college. I got out of college in 1985. This is a high school level read. High school level read. I recommend all Americans to read the Autobiography of Malcolm X. Okay. What else I got up here? That's interesting. I got in this section right here, almost everything I've read. I have not read this one, Barack Obama's "I Promised Land." I hear it's really good, and it's much more dense. They're the same size book. Size doesn't really tell you what's happening. This book weighs about half of what this book weighs. Whew. Okay, it's just so dense. This book is actually, how many pages? It's about 700 pages. Gotta put it up there. It's so heavy. Malcolm's book is 500 pages. Same size, but it's just more denser. Oh man, what else is up here? Okay, equally great book is this one by Jared Diamond, New York Times bestseller and winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Guns, Germs, and Steel: The Fates of Human Societies. It's got a new. I bought a later edition after I read it already. How did I read it? I think I actually checked it out at a library, and I was reading it and I loved it so much that I bought a digital copy so that I can keep reading it after I sent the book back to the library. And then I saw that there was a new edition out, and this is a whole new chapter at the end of this book was added about Japan, because this is ongoing information. Jared Diamond took what, 20 years to write this book, maybe 27 years. It's a brilliant work. They say it's brilliant on the back, so that's how you know it's brilliant. No, really, it is brilliant. I read it, and it's one of the few books that I read big books that I was actually sorry to see it end. I was hoping to keep on reading. And you can, because Jared Diamond has several other books. His first book was "Why Is Sex Fun?" What a great title, right? But he has the book that came out after this. Obama was affected by it a lot, and that book was called "Collapse." It's about societies that have collapsed in the past, and talked about like maybe 5 societies, including the Nordish society in the Greenland Nords people, something like that. Yeah. So Greenland, the Europeans in Greenland had a society that lasted about the same amount of time that the European society has lasted here in America, about 500 years, something like that. So, just because we've lasted 500 years or so, I say we, like I'm a European, right? I'm African American, but I do have some European blood, as many African American people do. Let's see, these lights. Whew, that's much better. Doesn't mean our society can keep going on, right? Something could happen to end it, and the threat of nuclear war is one of them, right? The global warming, the effects of global warming is one of them. Yeah. So this is out of all these books, I got 2 books that I say are must read. This is one, because why? They'll understand who we are, how white Europeans, Western Europeans, were able to come to dominate the world as they have today. Make English the most important language to be spoken today, control most of the land of the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, dominate the world economies. Okay, you see, the Asians are coming up, have been coming up for at least 100 or 200 years, but they've got a long way to go to get to the dominance that white Europeans have come to have. Guns, germs, steel. Those are the 3 main things that gave white Europeans the advantages, and he explains it so well in here. His theories. Boom. Amazing book. So you want to understand the world we live in today, read that book. You'll understand it better. So the book that I'm talking about, a classic, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So Guns, Germs, Steel is who we are. This one is how to deal with who we are, how to deal with people, how to win friends and influence people. Man, I love this book. This is another quick read, less than 300 pages. Make the fault seem easy to correct. A formula that will work wonders for you. Just great little titles. If you're wrong, admit it. Whoa. How to interest people. Goodness gracious. 6 ways to make people like you. Oh, man. Fundamental techniques on handling people. Wow. Let's see. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Man, boom. Stuff like that. 9 suggestions on how to get the most out of this book, how to read this book, Yep, I wrote my name and phone number in it. And the year I bought it, 2017. Yeah. Now, 2017, I was 54, turned 54 in May of 2017. I should have read this book when I was 24. If I'd read this book when I was 24, I'd have had a much nicer life. I would have had an easier life. I'd have had better friendships and better influence on people. In other words, people would have benefited more from Lafayette Harris interactions. So, 30 years later, I did read it, and it has improved my life since 2017. It's now 22. So this last 5 years, I've been able to benefit from that. So, it's never too late. But you 20-year-olds and you 16-year-olds, all you, boom, I want you to read these books now, this summer, at the very latest, before school starts again in the fall. Get these 2 books and have a better understanding of you and your life. And then when you get done reading these 2 books, go back to what you read now. And definitely get to the Autobiography of Malcolm X. Okay, I've got to drink some water now. I talk too much. All right, peace out. And I'll see you again another time. Take care. Peace.